good to go.
Excellent. Hi, Tanja here, Leadership and Mindset Specialist for real estate principals, managers and property leaders that really want to grow themselves, their people and their business in the least amount of time. And my friend that's here with the beautiful orange wall behind him is the sales director for Owens Casserly. He, with his partner in business, Nathan, he actually leads and represents 110 people. And congratulations to you, fist bump. You've just opened your 5th office. And exactly. And you, in these current changing and challenging times, have just had there we go, OC, check it out. You've just had a record month. So, Alex Owens, welcome to this quick chat.
Thanks, Tanja. Good to see you.
Good
doing
to
a lot of coaching with our team at the moment. So I must say that I'd love to say that our record month was because Nathan and I are just absolutely brilliant. But no, it was because of you. You came down to our takeoff conference in February and really set us up for this calendar year. So I'm going to say thank you to you that we've had our best month in 7 years in real estate. So yeah, no, we're really, really pleased.
Well, it was my pleasure, and it's a collective success, because information without application just stays information. So I know you and your team really, you took off, but then you let that training have some landing gear and you've implemented the work and done a lot of stuff. So genuine congratulations for opening your 5th office at Owens Casserly, and genuine congratulations. You have just said you've had a record month, the best month in 7 years. So the whole intention of this video is just to share, as a key leader of influence in real estate, certainly in South Australia, and I know you and Nathan are often asked to travel around the country and speak at conferences to share what you guys are up to. What was the source of that success? How did you just have your best month in 7 years despite the changing and challenging market conditions? Just give us what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Tanja. We've got 4 key arms to the business, as most agencies do. We've got our resi sales, we have property management, we have project sales, and we've got our home loans business. Yep. And all 4 of them had a record month all at once. So we're really, really pleased. 1,500 properties on the rent roll. We're selling about 1,000 homes a year now. So I think we sold 120 or 130 for the month in residential, and then projects another couple of dozen as well. So some of the key things that we're focusing on is the business structure and then the individual team members structure as well. So everyone from our receptionists through to property managers, through to sales consultants, to our exec team, all have their own personal business plan. And that business plan is not just about our success at OC and what we're looking to achieve at OC, but what do they want to achieve?
Yeah.
So what's their 3-year plan? How do we help them achieve their goals?
Yes.
So we're really structured around having our own 3-year strategic plan at OC. Yes. And then we break that 3-year strat plan down to 12 months and 3-month chunks, if you like. And we scrum that together on a big board in our training room. And then every quarter we review that, and we meet at least every quarter with our agents to review the plan. What do we agree on last catch up? What were we going to do for the agents? What were they going to do to meet in the middle? So I guess it's kind of like a little bit of accountability, but really to just assist the people in our organisation to achieve what they want to achieve. And then, hey, the byproduct happens to be that we're doing pretty well on a company level.
That is awesome. And in my humble opinion, that is the way to lead your business, because most business owners tend to see their clients, as in the end users of their products and service, the vendors, buyers, landlords and tenants, as the clients. But organizations like yourself and the team at OC that treat their team like their clients first, like you are there in service of them fulfilling their dreams and aspirations for their life. If they're feeling the love, if they feel nourished and nurtured and supported by you, and it's backed up with training and backed up with support and backed up with accountability, you're right, Alex, the flow-on effect is then they have more mojo to go out there and connect with their clients. So tick, tick, tick. It's definitely the way to go. And that's Richard Branson's philosophy as a leader. Treat your team like gold and the rest will take care of itself. So awesome. Now, before we press the record button, you also said to me that one of the focuses that you guys have right now is that balance and dance of skill set versus mindset. So, you know, we all know that the market is correcting, and for some, they've never worked in these conditions before. They've never navigated the terrain of uncertainty or had to reduce their commissions or any of that, or being forced to be innovative in how do they articulate the value of their commission so they don't have to reduce it. What are you and Nathan and your leadership team, what are you doing to actually encourage your people to rise and thrive in a very competitive market?
Yeah, absolutely, Tanja. I mean, they're the two key focus areas that we break our own internal education and inspiration sessions down to, that we want to make sure that our agents have all the tools in their toolkit to be able to successfully navigate their way through the skills that are required to be an elite real estate professional. Yeah. So that's something that we've always had from day one. Really passionate about being world's best in the skill set department. So you know, never have we been so lucky in real estate. I started in real estate 12 or 13 years ago, and it was only the beginning of a few real estate coaches really coming in. And I would have, you know, now you can Google up any of the skill set that you need through, you know, Tom Panos, Josh Fegan, Lee Woodward, you know, like the star agents out there. You know, you can do training with Tossovan, with Maddie Steinway. Yeah. You know, it's all available. So for us, the skill set, whilst it's critical to make sure that, you know, our agents have all those all those arrows in their armory, if you like, it's the mindset stuff is what's actually we're shifting back towards, because, you know, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you're not tuned into what's required to make to get the best out of yourself and to be switched on and win most days, you know, feel like $1 million agent more days than you don't, then it's really hard to deliver on those skills. So we focus on bringing in external speakers as well, including, of course, yourself, to help to just readjust our team's mindsets around what it takes to just clear away the dark clouds over their heads and try to have the sun shining through more days than not. So they're feeling good, they can get up and about and attack another day. So it's the daily disciplines that often fall off when you're not feeling that good. And I heard a funny expression that, you know, sometimes when people are early on in their career, they're a little bit inexperienced, so they're not quite going to be successful yet. In the middle part of their career, they've got kids and they're a bit busy, so they can't quite be successful yet. And in the latter part of their career, they're getting a bit old and they're not keeping up, so they're not quite ready to be successful yet. It's like, well, you know what? Like, yeah, it's probably just like, you know, there's no perfect time to be ready for success. In fact, the perfect time is today, of course. So we just try to really bring that into our organisation and make sure that our team have those tools available to them. And often it comes down to the coaching aspect. You know, I've got a coach, Nathan's got a coach. It doesn't need to be too formal, but someone that you need to report to keep yourself accountable. And one of the things that's working really well for our sales team at the moment is their pipeline progression spreadsheet, where basically it's the most key important human beings in their pipeline in their real estate world that they're working with at the moment. And they just send through that list, they update it every week, and they look at what the motivation is behind those people wanting to move house, and then just trying to increase the dissatisfaction of where that potential person is, or increase the satisfaction of where they might want to go to, and what sort of a house they can find for them. So that one little spreadsheet alone, and the accountability and sending it to me every week, just kind of sets off the reticular activation system as well, to look for reasons for the world to conspire with them to succeed, to find the right solution for those people.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I can hear there some of the strategies are you're eliciting the highest value for your team, being your clients, and getting clear of what does your life look like in 3 years and how can Owens Casserly help you get there and fulfill it, with some fun and measuring and managing and, you know, team and coaching and accountability. So helping your team get clear about what they want, giving them, of course, stellar training to upskill their abilities to be of service, but also, and probably more importantly, helping them build their mindset. And then you're measuring and managing and keeping people accountable so they do stay on track. Because unfortunately, many principals and leaders, we know only 1 in 5 leaders across Australia and New Zealand in real estate have had any leadership training. So they're doing their best with all of these people, but they aren't focused on what they want for themselves and their business, and they're not measuring and managing performance. So it sounds like having those 3 things covered is really working for you. And then, of course, you and Nathan taking yourselves seriously, but or your training seriously, but you don't take yourselves too seriously, because I know your OC motto is make it happen, and that you guys consistently challenge yourself to go beyond your own fears. And you typically open your conference by sharing, well, this was a fear we had and we overcome it, which is great leadership, because you're being the work at work and saying, well, guys, you know, we're just like you. We get scared too, but you know, if we're going to make it happen, we've got to go past our fears.
Absolutely, Tanja. And we've been on a bi-monthly, quarterly basis, we've been having a facilitated session around encouraging our team to be able to give open feedback to one another within the team. So we've basically come up with a set of agreed behaviours the whole team the majority of the team have agreed to. And if any of the team members don't necessarily agree with those behaviours, but 80% do, then we've all agreed they need to be on board.
Yeah.
So there's no exceptions to the values and the behaviours in the organisation. You know, we've got an open database system, and there's certain rules around that. There's certain rules around behaviours. We don't like to say rules. It's just like the way we do things at OC.
Agreement.
And that's been, and that's been, and to show vulnerability. You know, a month ago, I sat in front of our whole sales team, and they had the opportunity to give me feedback on how I could improve as a leader. They were broken up into groups of 6 or 7, and 6 in each group, and they came back with 3 or 4 things that I should keep, what I should stop, what I should start, and then I need to come back with my action plan. So I'm now working on some elements of my own leadership skills. One of them was I can be a bit defensive, so I'm working on being less defensive. I thought I was being passionate, but apparently it was a bit defensive, so I'm taking it forward.
Yeah. That's really awesome, because we know, I mean, the great work that CoreLogic have done to get the perceptions of buyers and vendors and what they want are 2 things, being trust and transparency. From the research we've also done with CoreLogic internationally, teams want the same. They're actually saying that 64% of their leaders don't take responsibility when things go wrong, and 69% aren't authentic. So teams aren't believing their leader. And as the saying goes, if you don't believe them, you don't believe the message unless you believe the messenger. So the fact that you've kind of said, let it rip, I'm genuinely interested in being the best leader I can be for you and helping you and us together make it happen. So where am I not serving you in the best possible way? That takes an incredible amount of vulnerability.
Yeah, I was really nervous. I don't know if I was more nervous sitting in front of 100 people giving you feedback as to your leadership skills, or jumping out of the plane at last takeoff conference when I'm ironically, being 2 meters tall, scared of heights. So I don't know what was worse.
Let me ask you, but before we wrap up, vulnerable act to sit in a room with 100 or so people, and you say, give me some feedback, I'm here to really serve, and I want to know, what do I do well, and what do I need to start doing, and what do I need to stop doing? How did you not, I mean, it's hard not to take that stuff personally, especially if one of the bits of feedback is perhaps you get a bit defensive. So it's like, I could get defensive about being defensive here, but how did you separate yourself from being, the egoic leader who's like, oh, ouch, to a servanthood leader who's like, great, I'm going to cop this on the chin and I'm going to really listen and implement. What skill, or how did you actually do that? And what was that like for you?
Yeah, thanks, Tanja. It's a good question. And yeah, it was confronting, but I take great pride in hopefully having some stoicism in my personality, and that's come from my parents and from the group of people that I like to associate with. Over the years, I've chosen to disassociate with some people where I felt that some of their attributes were rubbing off on me, and you kind of develop it as you go. And the first thing is having consciousness over your own self-consciousness, and being on a journey to improve your own EQ. And I guess Nathan and I, as business partners and best mates, we've got a great deal of pride in ourselves, and wanting to be able to serve others in a way that we see that our mentors serve people.
Yeah.
So we'd like being, I guess, when we're retiring one day, to be seen as people that were very balanced, still passionate about what we do, but be seen as guys that take feedback on board and action it. Still have strength, character, but at the same time having a calm disposition where we can work through any situation and take it on and keep improving. So it's just, I guess it's a decision that you make, whether you say, look, I'm too old to change, or you make a decision to say, I'm never too old to improve. And the whole enjoyment of this whole journey is the progress of the journey. It's like where we celebrate our victories, but we also go back to like beta testing mode again. It's like beta test, and then let's celebrate, and then let's go back to improving again, because it's really the enjoyment comes from that journey, I find personally. So yeah.
Well, what I can hear there is, one of the ways that you navigate from where most people would be affected by their ego is you have a greater why. So your why is beyond yourself and Nathan. You're here to really be of service, potentially leave a legacy where your leadership helped people, both that work with you and then the community that you have the privilege to serve, make it happen for them and their lives. So, good on you for being willing to be a vulnerable leader, and good on you for having a higher level of service and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and bringing consciousness to what you can do to make a difference. It's very inspiring, and it's absolutely one of the reasons why we asked you to be one of our key leaders of influence for Inspiring Greatness, which is our 2-day Empowered Leadership Summit coming up very soon in Adelaide on the 13th and 14th of November. You are going to be representing you and Nathan and the OC team, and particularly unpacking Encourage. What do you do in a bit more detail, TED Talk sort of style? What do you do to encourage your team when they have the skills but are working in challenging environments to actually shift their mindsets to succeed? So you've shared a few strategies here, but thanks for being one of our speakers there to share what you're up to and what's really being the source of you having a record month in the last 7 years. So if I was to ask you, Alex, as a leader, because the truth is, many people are saying, I don't know that I could take 2 days out of my business. I don't have the time to be there, or I'm conferenced out. I've learned so much I need to implement. Why would you invite principals and leaders and aspiring leaders to come to this particular event?
Yeah, no, thanks, Tanja. Thanks for the lead in. One of my mentors, Graham Mirabiso, who is a legend, he took RP Data from 70 employees to 700 over the course of 6 or 7 years. And he said to me that the best leaders that he's seen in businesses spend 70% of their time working in the business, 20% of the time working kind of on the business, on the key projects, and then 10% of their time kind of daydreaming up new ways to do things. And I think it's just absolutely critical to spend at least 20% and the 10% of your month going to events like what you're throwing, Tanja, because it's absolutely critical. Myself and Nathan, we put aside at least 3 or 4 days every month where we're not in the office, we're in a learning environment. We go to, and I've done that ever since day one when I was listing and selling 20 or 30 homes a year. When I was in the early stages of my career, you need to reinvest in yourself. And the amount of impact that you gave, that Tanja, you gave to OC in February when you were at our takeoff conference, we had 7 or 8 speakers, all ARIC speakers, And in the survey that came back, you were the number one for the day. And I can't encourage the people out there enough to come and see you for a couple of days, because whilst it's maybe one step backwards in terms of your calendar for in the middle of November, thinking, it's the middle of springtime, it's actually the springboard for next calendar year. So the work that people will get from you, that the outcomes from the 2 days with you will set them up for the rest of their financial year. So taking those 2 days out will be an investment that they'll yield absolutely immediately into their careers. And I say that genuinely.
I really appreciate that. Like that, it does mean a lot. And that's absolutely why we're doing it, because we know that historical data indicates that in the next 12 months, at least 50% of real estate businesses won't make a profit or won't be here. And for us, that just means hardworking mums and dads and entrepreneurs and business owners like you and your teams kind of, go home unhappy and unfulfilled. So thank you for that beautiful, endorsement and genuine share. And, you can't see the ocean when you're swimming in a fishbowl. So I love that you and Nathan dedicate 3 days out of your month to, look up out of the bowl and look at what else is out there, because in these conditions, to stay relevant, we must respond and not react. And we react from the past and our fear rather than responding to a greater future. So that's what Inspiring Greatness is all about. Thrilled that you could spend some time with us here and now to share your success and some strategies that you're doing to have record months in challenging market conditions. Can't wait for you to deep dive a little more on the 13th and 14th of November. So if you're watching this and you're like, all right, I'm going to get out of my fishbowl, I'm going to have a look at how I can elevate myself and my team in 2019, just click the link that's available. You can book your ticket for Adelaide, Melbourne or Sydney, depending on what city you're in. We've got $200 off tickets right now for our final days, and we really look forward to being of service to you and your team. So Alex, keep going out there and making it happen, my friend.
Thanks, Tanya. The 13th and the 14th. Awesome. Love your work.
Snap. See ya.
Ciao.